So we want to welcome you guys to 1 Million Cups this morning. We're so glad to have you. For anybody that's new to 1 Million Cups, please raise your hand. Wow, great. Okay, well, thank you guys for coming. We're very excited to have you. Just as a heads up, 1 Million Cups was founded by the Kauffman Foundation, and we're here this morning to hear from two presenters to share their story with us on creating their different companies here in Kansas City. So how it's going to work is each presenter is going to have 6 minutes. They're going to share their story, and then we're going to have some questions from our expert panelists. And then from there, we're going to open it up to the audience to ask questions. So be thinking of questions, and we'll work the room and get to you guys as we go. First, we want to introduce our expert panelists. We have Lance Winhalls. Go ahead, Lance.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Good. Cool. So I am a bit of a serial entrepreneur. I own a liquor store. I always lead off with that one. I built a sunglass brand, a t-shirt brand, and then I also do software and product consulting, and I'm a partner with Black Ops Development here in town. So a little bit of everything.
And Andy, are you here yet? He'll be here any minute.
I can intro Andy.
Lance is going to intro. Give us a quick Andy.
So Andy is like an older, more experienced version of me. He owns Snow & Co., so if you haven't been there, slushy adult beverages. He also does building development, software consulting and development, and I'm sure he's got a few others up his sleeve that he hasn't shared. So me, but just more experience.
Perfect. Thanks, Lance. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get it started, and we are going to kick it off with Ruins Pubs. Let's welcome Scott.
Can you hear me? Yep. All right. I'm Scott Cole. I'm the owner of Ruins Pub, and I got 6 minutes to kind of tell you about my life and my business. So I'll be brief and I'll speak fast. I kind of wanted to talk about my entrepreneurial journey most of all, so I found a really cheesy quote that I thought was kind of fitting. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent on arriving. I really like that because most people do have a fixed plan. My whole life I always had a fixed plan, and to be an entrepreneur you have to be like a traveler and go out and kind of blaze your own path and kind of trust your own decision making. That little baby on the top left is me as a little kid, looking pretty fly in my blue suit, I think. And my whole life, like I said, there's always a curriculum. In first grade, you're going through first grade, you know what grade you want to get, and then your whole goal is to get to high school, graduate, go to college, graduate, and then start a career, right? So there's always that authoritative figure kind of telling you what to do. Oh, Jesus. So after I graduated, I went on as an industrial engineer for the Ford Motor Company, and that's me working on my baby boy ride there. And they called me baby boy. But again, I had a boss telling me what my goals were. I was supposed to do this quarter, what I was supposed to do the next quarter. And I always had it kind of laid out in front of me. But I didn't like my path. I had so many ideas in college. I learned so much that I wanted to put into the workforce, and I just couldn't do it in a big corporate setting. It kind of drove me crazy. So I had my little corporate freak out moment where I decided I'm just going to go off grid and I'm going to leave the country. I have no plans, and I just wanted to see what it was like to not really have any set plans for a while. I never had that in my life. So I quit, and I went and traveled for about 4 months through Europe. I kind of just landed in London and ended up hitchhiking and couch surfing my way through Europe down into southeast Turkish-Syrian border and got scared and then ran back up to Prague in the Czech Republic and ended up teaching English for 7 months there. And then I got a girlfriend from Korea, and we traveled together through India and Southeast Asia and back up to Korea. And that was kind of my traveling phase. And then as soon as I got home, I had all these plans for a business, and I got to work. And there at the bottom right is me trying to look like a cool, suave entrepreneur. That's the goal. That's not close to reality. That's just my coolest picture of myself I could find, you know. So when I was traveling, my inspiration was when I was in Prague, in the Czech Republic. I went out on my birthday to a place called The Pub, and it was the first time I saw self-poured beer, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. That picture is actually the first beer I ever poured at a bar myself, and I thought it was just amazing. And afterwards, I went home and posted on Facebook. All my friends had said happy birthday, So I said, thank you all for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. But really, the best birthday present in the world would be if we could have self-pour beer in the States. I didn't think there was any way that it was legal. And I found out that it was legal, that all my friends had been to one in Atlanta and Chicago and New York City, and they were all over. They just weren't in Kansas City. And that's when I realized that's exactly what I want to do. That's my new goal in life. And so I was thinking when I was traveling, what were the coolest bars that I had been to? And the ones that I really liked were these bars in Budapest called Ruins bars. And the top left and the bottom right-hand corners, those are Ruins bars in Budapest. And I really liked them because there was an exact counterpoint to them. In Vienna and Budapest, they were both the capitals of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So they were big, beautiful, elegant cities. And well, Vienna had always been taken care of. So these big cafe bars were still elegant and still really nice and clean. And in Budapest, they were dirty, but you could really feel like the community. Like entrepreneurs from that neighborhood came in and turned it around with artists from that neighborhood that put weird found art in there. And as soon as you walked in, you just felt like you were really exploring the part of Budapest that is like the local, what real people there do. And I love that feeling. It's kind of like, if you come to Kansas City, it's like going to like the Plaza versus like 18th and Vine. Like, you can get like this hermetically sealed look at a city by going to the nice areas like the Plaza, Power and Light, or you can go off to the Fringe, which is kind of a little bit scarier, a little bit dirtier, and really see what like makes the city tick. And I wanted to kind of draw the line. I didn't want to be scary, but I wanted to actually, put my heart and soul into it. I didn't want a big corporate feel to it. And so basically, when I started building stuff, like my whole idea was to build weird stuff. And this is kind of some pictures from our build out. What happened was I didn't have enough money or enough time to really do a full-scale big Ruins bar. So basically, me and some friends kind of did everything ourselves. We ripped all the stuff out. We kind of turned an old '69 Volkswagen van into a lounge, which we had a graffiti artist put like weird cartoon skulls and weird stuff on. And we ripped out all the carpet, a bunch of walls, and we just really opened it up and just threw a bunch of weird stuff in there. And then at the bottom is kind of what the finished product looks like. But really our kind of main selling point is that we are Kansas City's first and only self-pour bar. And what that means is whenever you walk into the bar, you can give a bartender or server or whoever a credit card, and they'll give you a beer card. That beer card is an RFID tracking card. Each one of those monitors reprograms your card as you pour. So if you go in and you pour, 3/10 of an ounce of this kind of beer, well, it's going to charge you for 3/10 of that ounce. Each beer is priced differently, and the whole idea is that it's a taste testing every time. So we rotate our beers pretty much constantly, almost daily. So every time that you come in, it is a new experience. We want customers to kind of be able to get immediate feedback of what they do like and what they don't like. Because like the new trend nowadays, like Yard House is just down the road from us. They have like 120 taps, and I think that's crazy. You can't go in and drink 120 beers. Like, how does that help you as a customer? So I wanted something where people could get immediate feedback, and you can actually you could try 40 different beers without getting hammered drunk, and then at the end of the day being broke, You could if you wanted to, but that's not the point. The point is that you could actually taste all these without getting super drunk and going broke. And so we're Kansas City's first, and that's kind of what it looks like, and that's my presentation. In Crossroads on the Main Street, just 2 blocks south of Power and Lights at 1715 Main Street. I am terrible with this thing.
I'll go ahead and get started. I've been to your pub, and it's awesome. Really enjoyed it. I loved the ability to sample stuff. How did you go about identifying the technology that is tied into each of those pour spouts? Because to me, that was very unique and different versus just opening taps and allowing people to pour themselves.
Yeah, well, there's specific laws that apply to self-pour, and it was actually really hard to get that. The state does not like self-pour technology. But there's very specific technology, and there was actually a company that did one out in St. Louis, and since they figured out how to travel around the law, I kind of went with them. And basically, it's just a little turbine flow meter that hooks up to those little monitors that have RFID programming in it. And so just the company supplied most of it. I didn't really have to get too technical with it.
Well, from your neighbors at Snow and Company, welcome to the neighborhood.
Hey, Snow and Co.
We love having you over in Crossroads, and new bars, obviously, technology, innovation, things like that. When you talk about it, and I know that because we've got into that business about 5 years ago, Could you talk about like entrepreneurship and innovation in a really highly regulated space? Because you're selling alcohol, and you're doing it in a way that nobody else in the city is doing it. Like how does that kind of balance against you wanting to be innovative and cool and doing new things with being super regulated?
Oh, no, that's a great question. And I would just, be prepared to, bang your head against the wall, because you're going to be describing these technologies and these processes to people at the state level that just don't care or don't understand. So they really have no reason to really go out of their way and learn it. They'll just say no. So, prepare to have lawyer fees, and and you got to know what the law is and how it fits into your business model. And so you kind of have to keep pushing the subject, because they're not going to want to listen to you. Like the state came down, and I got in a big yelling match and ended up having to hire a lawyer because they wouldn't talk to me. So.
So how have you guys gone about informing the public that you moved in, that you're around? I mean, there's a lot of bars, a lot of competition. How do you separate yourselves from the place that they've gone their whole life, their own little spot, and let them know that you're there, you're new, come check you out?
That's a great question. I really don't know. That's one of the places I really need help. I'm not a marketer. I'm an engineer. I'm not good at the softer side. This stuff kind of freaks me out, but we do all the social media stuff. We made a website. I don't know. We got some radio where I worked out deals with different people so that I can get some advertising without directly paying for it, So it's whatever I can get away with on the budget that I have right now. But I really don't. If anyone has suggestions, I'm happy to take them, because that's where I really need help.
Marketing in that space is interesting. I mean, again, I think looking at it, we're probably there are probably as many things I don't know now as I did like 5 years ago when I began, and so I don't want to like make it like you don't have hope, but I think you're doing it right. You do it scrappy. You obviously have to kind of control your resources, because it's a tough capital intensive business to be in. I think the big thing that I think about with like the category, right? Like you're the first, but you're probably not going to be the last, right? Like so if
Yeah.
you guys do it well. Like if people like the idea of being able to go in and sample 20 or 30, beers or whatever in the course of an evening, or three, maybe. You're not going to be the last, right? So that space, like the laws are opened up where you can do that. So I think a lot of it is you're kind of like, trailblazing ahead in some sense to be able to kind of help teach people the category of this is a different experience, and other folks are going to follow you into that space. So a lot of it's learning. A lot of it's
Yeah.
really you informing people of the category and kind of attacking the learning curve, and being able to kind of get people on board with all of that.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work, and it's a lot of heavy lifting on your guys'
Yeah.
part that right now you're doing alone.
Yeah, and it was scary. Yeah, what Warren Buffett always says, that a business should have a big moat. It should be hard for other people to duplicate and replicate it. And unfortunately, I don't have that moat. So it's really scary. So I really kind of just have to hope I establish the market first.
Your moat, candidly, is people like standing around and watching to see whether you're going to be successful or not. So
Yeah.
that's more or less what it is.
So-
Sorry.
Oh.
Let me grab you a microphone.
So have you started the data feedback loop from your taps, sort of looking at what people are liking, what they're sampling, what the sample size is? Are you getting any sense yet of how your customers are actually interacting with your new technology?
Well, yeah. I mean, I always have the data to know what cards pour what, when, and how much. But I rotate beers all the time, so I have a general idea of what kind of styles most people like. But that doesn't really change the way I buy beer, if that makes any sense. I just buy beer. It's seasonal, and we've only been open for 5 months, so beer's always changing. Different breweries are gonna have different release schedules. So really, I kind of just have to buy what's freshest, what's the most new beer. I can't really go off the past trends, because what Boulevard releases next. They just came out with like Rye on Rye, 2-3 weeks ago. Well, I had to get that, and I had no previous sales history on it, So it's still, I just got to do whatever I think is the best for what's coming up. So like in the winter, we have a bunch of stouts. In the summer, we're going to have a bunch of shandies, stuff like that. So it's kind of whatever's seasonal and whatever's new.
But it's one of the ways to start the conversation with your customers.
Yep.
Right, through social.
And something I want to do more so moving forward is kind of making it interactive, where it's like a membership program. You can know how much of what beers you drink and stuff like that. But the technology is not quite there, but that's something I want to do.
Right, so
That's
customers
voting.
try something and immediately go, the equivalent of a check-in.
Yeah.
With this
And there's all kinds of beer rating apps, so I kind of see what people rate every day, like on Untapped, and there's all kinds of rating apps that will tag my bar on Twitter whenever they make a rating. So I see what people like and what they don't like.
Nice. Another question for you right here, Scott.
Have you been affected by, or do you think you'll be affected by the toy train stopping? You're right there on Main Street.
toy train.
You know, I would. One of my coachings for you is stop using the word dirty. Use artistic
yeah.
words like
Eclectic
raw,
and
eclectic,
raw, yeah.
funky. You know, work hard on being a place to stop for on First Friday. And for those of us who can't drink beer, can you convert any of those to wine?
I don't know if it's legal for me to do one. I think it might be, but I'm scared too because I had such an issue just getting beer. I have ciders and gluten-free options on there, but yeah, I do use the word dirty too much. But yeah, it's eclectic and gritty, I guess is the best way to gritty. Raw, yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
Scott.
right? Is that better?
We have a question on the live stream. They're asking if craft brewers are your friends or competition that are also like in the crossroads. So
No,
The other one's open.
I love the craft brewer. That's what makes my business. Like, I actually used to be I was a really bad home brewer, but I did some home brewing. I was terrible at it. But I actually just donated my old craft beering kit to Torn Label. So like, hopefully they're gonna start coming out with new beers on my brewing station, which would be really cool. So no, I love all. Then there's just Stockyard Brewing is just now opening up. Crane just opened up. I love all the local. We want Kansas City brewers to do good. So craft brewing is right up our alley.
we have a question on your back left.
Hey, Scott, interesting concept. I was wondering, because you had mentioned you have limited resources, is there any way that you can take that data and sell that back to the different brewing companies to provide them information? I mean, data is important and it's powerful, and maybe there's a way you can make some kind of money off of that information.
Yeah, maybe once we get bigger, someone would actually care. Like, I couldn't see someone caring about how we rotate so often. So if there's like the small oak kegs, little 6 barrels, we might get 3 of them, you know? And most brewers aren't just gonna care what happens if 3 6 barrels, you know? So if we get bigger and franchise out, then I could see that maybe being something really that they like to see. But on something so small, such a small data selection, I don't know how it'd be too helpful. But that's genius. I never thought of that though.
Question on your right, Scott.
I just had a couple quick ideas when you're talking about marketing. I was thinking about how I heard about Snow and Company, and it was mainly through events, especially in the startup community. It'd be interesting to not only hold events, but hold events that are centered around your unique quality that you can sample a lot of beers. I don't think you'd want to encourage anybody to drink all the beers. I don't know if you can do that, but something around that specifically, because I've driven by it, a lot, and I didn't really. To me, it just looked like another bar. I mean, it looked cool, but I didn't realize that there was something really unique and special inside. But the other thing that I was thinking is that I think your story is really cool, and as much as you can put that into your marketing, I like, your whole presentation is just very, DIY, I guess, very down to earth, and I appreciated that, and so I think that would kind of maybe help you sell the brand a little too. So
Yeah, and we're always trying to work on figuring out new events that we can sell and market, and we just haven't wrapped our brains around on a good model yet.
Question in the center.
Hi, Scott. I've been to the pub. Love it. One thing I would say when I was there that I really appreciated was the variety of taps that you had. It wasn't what I could necessarily get at Barley's or, a lot of the other places. So the uniqueness of what you're pouring gives me an opportunity to get a few more badges on Untapped. So keep that up.
You're welcome, man. I do what I can.
Got another question for you here, Scott.
Hi, Scott. I was wondering whether you could tell us more about the certain attention that you pay to the atmosphere of your pub. How do you make it more entertaining? Do you have live music there? I've heard of places where you can drink wine and paint. I know you might not necessarily do that, but How do you make the atmosphere more inviting and fun and interactive?
Well, we made it weird and gritty. We just put it, we ratably did, yeah, we did everything like DIY weird stuff. As far as doing events, we do like DJs on Saturday nights, but I'm scared to kind of get classified as the live music venue and have too much live music. So I don't know exactly what route to, like we were talking about events earlier. I don't exactly know what events to really pull in the atmosphere. I don't know exactly what theme or vibe works best for it. So I'm scared to commit 100% to one thing. So I don't know yet. That's something I'm still working on.
Thank you.
Question in the center.
Hi, Scott. This is kind of a technical or direction I want to go. Are these similar to like a fuel pump at a gas station? Is it that type of technology where there's a transducer or something so you can see the number?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know the technical background of a gas pump, but I'm assuming they look the same to me.
Yeah, similar technology though.
Yeah.
So young people, because I have a business too, and credit card fees are terrible. They have cash. If they can see, they're like pumping it, and they go, I want to put $10 in because I have $10 cash. Maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So they go, I got $20. I'm going to put that in.
Well.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it's all leaded, high octane stuff. But that's just a thought, maybe, because young people don't have credit cards.
Yeah.
And you don't want to pay those fees anyway.
And we do that as well. So when you come in, there's two options of getting this beer card, right? You can do the bill pay, which is, it's just like a gas pump. It keeps going up, and whenever you're done, your credit card gets charged. Or you can do the prepay, where you can say, hey, I got $20. Here's $20, and then we give them a $20 card. And as soon as that $20 is out, it cuts them off. So there's the two options. So we do that occasionally.
Question for you on the left, Scott.
Hello, Scott. My name is Holmes Osborne. I just leased out my bar to some nice young couple, and I'm helping them navigate the laws of the state of Missouri, the liquor laws. I have a couple of questions and a comment. One is how do you cut people off when they drink these 8% Belgian beers? Two is do you have liability insurance? Because you're nodding your head yes, which is good, because I think that would be another hurdle to go through. The one lady said wine, so if you have a beer license, you can also serve wine, so you could do that. I'm guessing you don't have liquor by the drink, and I'm guessing you don't have food, because if you
we have a full restaurant and liquor.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Do you have liquor too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you sell 2/3 non-alcohol to retain your liquor by the drink license? Okay, that's good, because beer is nice, but the profit margins in beer aren't what people think they are. They're not that high. But they are in liquor. So if you're serving vodka and whiskeys and things like that, tell me about the process when you got your liability insurance policy. Was that a hurdle to jump through?
No, not more so than any other bar, because the pour it yourself sounds really dangerous, right? You just picture a drunk, standing underneath a tap. And it's not like that at all. The state of Missouri has a specific statute about self-poured beer, which is why I'm scared to put wine on there, because it says specifically beer on the statute. But the statute says that it has to cut you off after 32 ounces. So I have control of when I shut each customer off. Normally, if they're just drinking normal beers, it will cut them off after 32 ounces. If I have a super strong, like I had the Rye on Rye, it's 14.6% alcohol. Well, that one's going to cut you off before 32 ounces. So the maximum is 32 ounces. If there's a really strong beer, it'll cut you off sooner.
Question in the center.
This is more of a comment than a question, but if you are going for gritty and weird, I say own that and beer tasting, because I just think it will dilute what you're bringing if you try to be all things to all people. So I just, you were saying that, well, we might do wine or whatever, but if that's what you want to do, I think do it and own it and do it really well. And so, I think you can do that, because there's an audience for that in Kansas City. There is a group for that, and you just want to appeal to that group and not try to make yourself appeal to the masses. So.
True.
Another question for you here, Scott.
In the previous conversation about the cards, it made me wonder if you have gift cards available.
You can buy them online through Intercom has, I forget their website, but that was one of the little marketing deals I worked out on a budget. What was it called?
Question in the back right.
I'm wondering how the customer experience without having a bartender, because when I go to a place that has a lot of beers, I like to have the bartender be kind of the sommelier and walk me through what I want. So is there anything educational or way to help customers choose?
Most of our staff has a pretty good knowledge of what's up there, so they can kind of walk you through it. But on each monitor, there's a description of the beer. So it'll give you the commercial description, it's brewed with this kind of hops. It's supposed to taste light and hoppy and citrusy, and so it'll have the description. It'll tell you what alcohol percent, what kind of beer it is, and who the brewer is. So you have the basic knowledge, but the whole point is that you don't have to listen to some certified cicerone telling you about these beers. You can actually just taste it. That's the most important thing. Craft beer isn't some big fancy thing. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. So it doesn't matter what some certified cicerone tells you. If you like it, then you like it. So that's the best way to do it, is just go around and taste it. If you like the description, just give it a little taste. If you hate it, wash out your cup and get a different one. If you like it, then you can pour some more. So it's instant feedback. You don't have to go through a third party to kind of guesstimate what you like and what you don't like.
Well, and I felt like too when I was there, the bartender or the staff member didn't have to worry about pouring my beer. He could focus more on me. So I actually felt like I got more attention than the bartender who was bouncing back and forth trying to serve everyone.
So we got, Scott in the center, we got a tip on Twitter that there's going to be a startup call in May, I believe. And so they were suggesting that you be one of the stop points. So you might want to get connected with the startup people. So I
I'm
think
down.
that would be good. And then we have a question.
I like startup people.
Scott, great presentation. I like your energy, man. You're cool.
Thanks, man.
Just you're an engineer.
Yes, sir.
And I'm kind of an engineer too. But tell us about your business journey on this. You must have gotten some investment money to do this.
Yeah.
It's pretty capital intensive at this point.
Private, yeah. But I was about half, and then other sources were about half. And then when I was working, I had some real estate investments that kind of. So when I was traveling, I was actually making money, which was a cool thing about most people travel and lose all their money. I actually made some money while I was traveling. So I had a bunch of money saved up. I have some real estate, and then I had some help from the side.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Scott. Our final question for you is, as a community, what can we do to help you?
Pick this up one more time. All right, help me. I need help with marketing. I always need artists because, like I said, I want to be weird, and we're not weird enough, so I always want artists to do more installations. I need entrepreneurial friends because I always need advice. I never know what the hell I'm doing, So, and then, most importantly, just come to Ruins Pub, enjoy a beer, get some food. That's it.
Thank you. We've got just a couple quick announcements. If you have one of the announcements, handouts, the Co-working Wednesdays today at the ECJC. There's a few other events happening also there at the ECJC, and then also the USPTO Midwest Regional Seminar is Friday, May 28th at Kauffman Foundation. So please just kind of glance at this, peruse through it, take a look, and kind of get up to speed. Today, I'd like to see the hands of anyone who has been to 1 Million Cups 10 times or more. If you'd stand up for me, 10 times or more. First of all, let's give them a round of applause for being loyal supporters of 1 Million Cups. Okay, you can all sit down now. What we like to do, just as a way to say thank you, is we like to bring one person a week into our mug club. And I know you all stood up, but trust me, keep coming back, and ultimately we'll get to you. Gentleman back here with the glasses. Yeah, you. Come on up front.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here.
Making you walk, I'm sorry.
Here, Courtney.
Tell us your name and why you come to 1 Million Cups. Thank you, Laura.
My name is Joe Oliero, and I'm actually a commercial real estate broker here in town. But as you might think, a real estate brokerage, you get a lot of groupthink, a lot of people talking about real estate, not so much about new ideas and inspirational things. So it's always great to come here at least once a month and and get inspired. It's a lot of good energy and a lot of good people. So.
Welcome. All right, without further ado, I am actually really excited to introduce our next presenter, Laura Stewart of VideoFizz. She has been busy, literally kicking ass here in Kansas City. She's a pipeline innovator, winner of Kansas City Tech Week, and also a 1 Million Cups alumni. Welcome back, Laura.
Thank you. I'm exhausted. So I need coffee. Good morning, everybody. It's fun to be presenting. I love coming to Million Cups. I've been doing it solid for a year since I started my business, which is a mobile app that makes it easy to create group video greetings for any occasions, birthdays, get well soon, anniversaries, etc. What I want to do is sort of show you how the tech works here to begin with, and hopefully all the videos are going to play today. But this is Beth. And Beth's husband, Brian, is having his 40th birthday this weekend. She's looking for something awesome to do, and she's heard about the VideoFizz mobile app. She finds our birthday occasion, and what she's doing now is she is looking for an animation that's going to be reflective of his personality to go at the beginning of the awesome video that she's about to create. She'll fill in a few fields, and what she's doing is she's making the invitation that she'll send out directly from her contacts to the people that she's inviting to participate with her. So they're going to receive the text notification and a link to the app to participate, which means his parents that are on vacation in Palm Springs won't have to miss out on his big day. And he's got a younger sister who's away at college and can't make it back. So they'll also be able to send their greetings to Brian for his 40th. Now here's the deal. I started this last summer and I was making these manually. Basically it was just an idea I had and I started putting them together on my computer, and I'm glad that I did because I learned a lot in the process. For example, the average amount of people in a VideoFizz is 13. The problem was, for every one that I made, I got an additional 2 requests. So that's a viral coefficient of 1.44, and it was awesome and overwhelming, and it blew my mind. But I still wasn't sure it was time to create an app, right? So I also did a survey. And in this survey, I had 600 people that I didn't know, showed them a clip of a sample VideoFizz, and asked them what they thought. The response was overwhelmingly positive, 95% positive, with 29% of people saying they wanted one now. 2/3 said they were very likely to create one. They told us what they would pay. They told us how they would share it, so 74% wanted to share it socially. And then we started to see what we thought might be our core demographic. The people who loved it were 80% female between the ages of 30 and 59. So what I want to do is, when we get to the part of what can Kansas City and what can you guys do for me, I want to know what you think. And I'd love honest feedback from entrepreneurs with a lot of experience. So the app that we built actually solved the problems that I faced when I was making it manually. In addition to Brian getting something awesome that he's going to keep forever, it was very hard to gather the videos. If people tried to email them, the files were too large. If they tried to text them, the video compressed. And we were Dropboxing up and Dropboxing down, and it was a cluster, okay? So the app allows you to easily upload in high definition. It does all of that for you. In addition, figuring out who was invited to what person's fizz, within 2 weeks, I was doing 77 of these, and I had over 800 video clips I was managing. Was absolutely not scalable, big problem. The app manages all the invitations, and it manages all the reminders. And then the other thing the app does is what I was sitting at my computer doing. It automatically stitches it together, puts that amazing animation at the beginning, and layers in music. And we did file IP protection around the process in June of last year. So we feel like our customers are that of the greeting card industry. These are people who are willing to spend time and money to commemorate an occasion, and it's a $7 billion industry, $4 billion of it here in Kansas City. Our model is threefold. We have a free product that allows people to use our video stitching capability with no music and no animation for free. For $5.99, or about the price of a premium greeting card, you can make a VideoFizz with unlimited amount of participants. Or we're really trying to drive our customers to this annual renewing subscription. So for only $9.99, you can make as many of them as you want in the course of a year. So we have a lot of marketing initiatives, and we've been pretty quiet. We've been stabilizing the app, gathering feedback, making it easier for customers to use, and we really haven't started our big marketing campaign, but next month is when we're going. We've got a Mother's Day campaign coming up, a huge campaign around graduation. We think it makes perfect sense for your family and friends who can't make it into niece and nephew's graduation. And then I'm most excited about what we're going to be doing in October for breast cancer awareness. We have a very big national partner who's going to be co-branding with us and a sponsor who's going to be matching donations. I'm going to keep that quiet for a little bit. That's going to be a press release coming out later. So what happened last year? I don't even know. It's been such a blur. But we've raised $1 million, over $1 million. We funded the company. We participated in the Launch Kansas City competition, and we were one of the winners in that competition. We went on to Tech Week. We got both an Android and an Apple app version released in December, and we're almost halfway to our version 2.0 release. And we're looking to do a big raise and be the market leader in February of 2017. Kansas City was the best place in the world to do this. We have received such amazing support from the entrepreneurial community. I was in Pipeline for a year. That was an amazing experience. I've been coming to Million Cups for a year. Missouri Technology Corporation gave us a large grant. It's just been very welcoming and a very protected place to start a business. And so here's our team. Colby, whose job depends on the video at the end working, where is he at? I'm just kidding, is my new Chief Operating Officer who has just moved here from Houston, so if we could all welcome him to Kansas City, that'd be great. And then Jeremy Davis, who's our marketing manager. Ben Cottrell, who you've all seen, has been my technical advisor from the very beginning. And then we have 2 awesome Northland CAPS interns. We really appreciate participating in that program. It's really beneficial to have that young talent around, especially when you're working with tech. They know how to do everything. I feel old all the time, but that's the story of the game. So I want to thank you guys a lot for... These are Bitmojis, I'm obsessed, right? So I want to thank you, and what I want to do is at the very beginning of today, we had a fake person. Well, we were looking for a birthday, but nobody had one. So we made our intern, Brennan, have his birthday today. Colby, can you come up and play this video for me? Hopefully it's going to work. Or Colby's fired. I haven't seen this yet, so. Oh, God. Colby, you're out. Uh-oh. That's okay. Can he save it? I haven't seen this one. The idea is just to really show you that the tech works instantaneously. We were able to create a video all the way through from beginning to end. There's the animation. Happy birthday to Brennan. Happy birthday. From Million Cups in Kansas City. Happy birthday. Brennan, it's not your birthday, but pretend it is.
Happy birthday from Amsterdam, Brennan. Hope you're having a great Million Cups this morning.
Hey, Bren. Happy birthday from Florida. I'm sure you're having a great time over there in Missouri. I'm sure it's really warm and sunny, and I'm sure it's just like Florida, actually. So have a good one, and I'll talk to you when I get back.
Hi, happy birthday from 1 Million Cups, Wichita.
Happy
birthday to you, Brennan.
Live from the Kaufman Center, happy birthday, Brennan, and also congratulations on your Northland CAPS assignment. You're doing an awesome job. Have a great day, and happy birthday.
Okay, the funniest part of that clip is that was my son in Florida, and the assignment was to be outside in the palm trees so that people would know that you're in Florida, and he did it obviously in his hotel room. He's at a swim meet right now, so that way to go, kid. That was great. So anyways, that's just a look at the tech. Generally right now is when we show our testimonials and we talk about our why and why we do this. What I did before this is I worked in cancer technology. I managed 2 companies for GE for upwards of 12 years, a genomic sequencing business, and it was all cancer all the time, and I just wanted to do something different and make people happy, and video fizzes, when people receive them, really do make people happy, and I am loving what I'm doing. So thank you so much for your time today. Questions?
All right, awesome job, Laura, as always.
Thank you.
So talk to us a little bit more about how you came up with the pricing model, because you've got a free version, you've got kind of a pay-as-you-go, and then you've got the annual. The annual seems like a no-brainer considering the price of the one in the middle. So talk us through how you went through that whole process and kind of came up with those numbers.
Okay, so I wish I could say it was my idea. It was not. I was just going to sell them for $5.99 a piece. I thought it made great value. When I was making them manually, people were trying to pay me hundreds of dollars for these things. I mean, literally, I had people giving me $200 checks that I ripped up because I was trying to learn in the process. But when I was in Pipeline, we went out to MIT, and there was a guy named Joe Hadzima, and he is a business model specialist, and I was showing this. This was in the very beginning of this. I had just had the sample. And he really encouraged me to go do some more research and look at people like Jackie Lawson and Jib Jab, who had subscription models. It wasn't something that I had ever considered. And I listened to him a little bit, and then he told me, you know the Keurig guy? You know the Keurigs, the little one at a time? He said, I told that guy to patent the cups and not to worry about the machines, but to actually patent the cups, and the money was in the patent on the cups. And then I was like, oh God, I better be listening to this guy. And in that subscription, or in our survey, we sort of saw that's the level at what people are comfortable with. A lot of kids think apps are free, and that's different. We're not going for an app with 10 million users where we're going to do ad revenue. This is really going to be a per product sell. So I got advice is the short answer.
No, it'll be curious, I'm sure, and I'm sure looking forward to the analytics when it comes back on how many people percentage-wise take the subscription versus kind of the individual one-off sale of it.
Yeah.
It's obviously a purely digital product, which is great because digital products have great margins. Have you thought about how the tangible kind of in-store retail side from a promotional point of view ties in at all, or is it really just in terms of your marketing push going to be online, online, online?
We thought about that. And, a lot of people pretty much on a daily basis, I get asked, have you talked to Hallmark, right? I don't know how many people, have you talked to Hallmark? Does this make sense for Hallmark? And, my first job was in a Hallmark store, which is interesting and a giant twist of fate. And the question was always, how do you take something digital like that and then still give it a brick and mortar space? And I don't know the answer. Right? I really don't know the answer, and I don't know if it works.
Neither does Hallmark if it makes you feel better.
I understand that. I understand that, but there's a lot of opportunities for tangible goods, right? There's things like gift cards and that sort of thing, but I'm really going to stay focused to what I want it to do, which is to bring a group of people together. And I think if I get too far off of that, it's going to become too many things and not meaningful enough to the group of people that I'm trying to reach. Does that make sense? Right now I'm laser focused. If we spend a lot of time listening to customers, it's all I do, right? If this product ends up different, it's going to be because customers told us that they wanted it to be different. So we're going to let that guide our decisions. But right now, I understand how people want to use it, and I understand what it means to the people who get it. Especially, we've got a category called Cancer Sucks. And while you saw the average amount of participants in a video fizz is 13, in the Cancer Sucks category, it's upwards of 35. So when someone finds out they're diagnosed, all of their friends want to do something, and this gives them that platform to do it. And not only that, it's so meaningful to the people who receive it to see that support and be able to play it over and over. I mean, I tried to get away from cancer, and I found myself right back in the middle of it, but we'll let customers guide us.
Well, it's a great product, and I look
you.
forward to seeing bigger things from it.
Thank you. I saw your background. I was like, oh, I'm excited to hear what he says today.
So how's growth been since you launched the app? Are you seeing the same kind of virality that you did when you were doing them on your own?
Well, we launched it, and we had some stability issues. So here's the problem. It got out of the box quick. So what we didn't understand is that people in Europe were going to be using it, and it wasn't programmed to accept European phone numbers. So we would see this spurt that happens in the UK, and then we would have customer service issues coming back. It's not working, it's not working. Well, it was designed for an area code number inside the US. So we had to kind of stop and retool because you cannot control who people invite and where they invite people from. So how we've done in terms of adoption, it's going crazy. We're trying to keep the lid on it while we keep the tech up. We've had over 2,000 individual participants. We're at 1,200 video fizzes. We've got something like 600 subscriptions, and we haven't marketed it. We haven't marketed it. So we're getting ready to start. And I'm excited about that, but really we want people to have a really pleasurable experience. And we want it to be simple, right? This wasn't built for kids. This was built for my age of people, and it was really important to have a simple and easy UI. My age being 36.
Lance, last one. Oh, so I was just going to ask, so what's next for VideoFizz? Where is VideoFizz going to be in 6 months, a year from product and business?
Okay, well, you're going to make me talk about October just a little bit. So in October, you're going to be able to make a donation inside the app. So imagine this breast cancer campaign that we're doing, and each individual person, if they choose, and of course they don't have to, could make a donation. The pink ribbon's going to go down at the bottom of their fizz, and it's going to actually be a philanthropic engine for certain people. So we already see that. That's part of who I am. That's part of what I want to do, spreading goodwill. And so I'm excited about that. Beyond that, there's a big vision for where we want to go, but it's too much, right? It really is a day-by-day thing to a bigger development plan. You know this for sure. You gotta walk before you crawl, before you run, or crawl before you walk, then you run. Or if you're at the brew pub, then maybe you crawl, then you walk, then you run. Okay.
All right, we're going to open it up to the crowd now. We got one to your left, Laura.
Good presentation. Thank you very much. Good morning. 2 quick questions. One, are you running this on your own server environment where you own the hard goods, or it's on a cloud, Amazon?
EC2 servers.
Okay. How do you feel about, Meerkat came along and jump-started about a year ago the video inline space with live video streaming, which scared the hell out of our friends at Twitter, who then incorporated it into an app. And now Facebook, in the last 90 days, has announced they haven't rolled it out everywhere because they don't have the server capacity yet, but within the next 45 days, 100% of the comment feeds will allow inline video to be stored in there. And you're going to see a dramatic change to the comment feeds where you can insert stuff like this into your feeds. How do you see that as a challenge to your product rollout?
I actually see it as a benefit, right? Because that's training people to create videos. Right now, the people who are doing this are usually making their first selfie video. And when it's nothing like waking up in the morning and seeing Facebook announces the ability to say happy birthday on video. You're like, oh my God, I quit my job for nothing. But you look at it, and there's a lot of differences in that, right? It's a 1-to-1 ratio. It's not something that you're putting together as a gift. It lacks the multimedia piece of the presentation, which is the music and the animation, and really creating that for a specific event. There are a lot of companies who have done video stitching, and they've all made it to about the same place, right? And then, of course, you've got Snapchat, which just allows you to do that all day long. This is really about the gifting and about the occasion, and how we're going to stay relevant and how we're going to continue to compete is with those animations that you can customize, music that you can customize, giving people additional features that they can use. I think it's a good thing. We could be afraid of it. I invite it because I think it gets people used to communicating that way, which is where we're headed, whether we want to go or not. But thanks for the question. There was a moment. Yeah.
One over here to your left.
Okay, my left. Oh, hi.
Well, how about, could you tell us a little bit more about any partnerships that you might be thinking about in the future? You mentioned about Hallmark, but I want to be your first partner.
Oh, that's exciting. I can tell you that we have already had multiple requests to do this in a corporate capacity, and we've actually already built the development to be able to do this. So I'll stitch that out and what that would mean. Let's say I'm Pepsi or Southwest Airlines, and what is important to me is that content, that genuine content that people create. You cannot recreate it. Every time we try and put a sample video in, people can sniff it a mile away. They can tell which one is the actor like that. So if I'm Southwest Airlines and I say, hey, we're doing a campaign, show us your first flight, and all you have to do is go into VideoFizz and put Southwest or I Fly, and then you're like, hey, I'm on my first flight, I'm kind of nervous, or I'm excited. That kind of content is really valuable to these larger companies, and it's really scope creep for us. We've got to manage those opportunities as we come. We've already said no to one. because we didn't think it was the right partner in the right place, but we're certainly open to that, and the technology is built to handle that, if that helps you, right? What kind of business do you have?
Just on the very foundational stages, but the DVD montages when we go to visitations and funeral homes, I'm passionate about creating those as a personalized way to.
Oh, when I go out, it's going to be epic, right? My husband knows. I mean, I've got rock music and flipping off on the way out. So we should talk afterwards.
Laura, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I always love your story about your first day of Pipeline, and I know many people in the audience haven't heard of this. But I would like for you to explain why you chose to go into that program and how it's helped you along the way.
You just want me to talk about crying in the bathroom. Everyone wants to hear Laura humiliated in the bathroom. So, like I said, I was running 2 companies for GE. You know, I had pretty much gotten to the spot that you want to get to professionally. I was traveling all the time. I have a lovely husband and beautiful children, and you know, I traveled early in the morning and came home late at night, and I was just trying to manage it, and I'd had enough, right? And I'd had enough of death and despair and the medical industry. And so I finally decided that I was going to start my own business. And I applied to a group here in town called Pipeline. It's an entrepreneurial fellowship program. And I really didn't know what I was doing, but some people told me that I should apply. And then once I got in, it was a competition, right? I found out it was really prestigious and a lot of people applied, and then I just wanted in. Well, then I got in. It's the truth. I mean, you know, every entrepreneur has a tinge of competitive spirit, right? And I got in, and they said, okay, yes, congratulations. Before you show up, we need your resignation letter. And my plan was to go check it out, right? Kind of weigh my options and then quit a little bit later. And there came the day that I had to actually decide that I was quitting. Am I making the step forward? Am I not? So I leave my extremely lucrative job that pays for many vacations and lots of lovely things. And I put all that money into this. And then I went to Pipeline, and the first day of Pipeline, my business was totally different. Just to be perfectly honest with you, it wasn't video fizz at all. This is not a pivot. This is a, you know, twisting and turning and twerking. And in the first day of Pipeline, we were doing an exercise where you had to talk about your customer. And I literally realized that I had left my job, spent $250,000 to develop something that I hadn't validated. I'd talked to some friends, and they'd said it was a good idea. And I thought, that's good enough, right? And when we started talking about how do you know customers want it and what are they going to pay for it, the answers to all of those questions were I didn't know. And I had been launched for a little while and nothing was happening. So it was at that moment that I realized what I'd done. And I went to the bathroom and I started hysterically bawling and hyperventilating. How can I be such a successful person and make such a simple mistake? And I've walked away from my job and I called Chad and I was like, come and get me. I'm gonna need to see if I can get my job back, oh my God. And he's like, oh, pull yourself together and go back in there. And so this is how I spent the whole rest of the first day at Pipeline. And then out of that process, when you build your business correctly and you really do validation, that's why I still wasn't convinced. You know, I had 77 requests in 2 weeks, 800 video clips. I still wasn't ready. Then I had to go out and do the survey, and I was still nervous about moving forward. You really do have to take that step and validate. And had I stayed on the path that I was on and I hadn't had that first day, I'd have spent that much money and a whole lot more on an idea that I really never validated at the beginning. So that's my advice to budding entrepreneurs is validate. That does not mean ask your aunts and uncles if they like it.
All right, show of hands. Got one up front running to you.
So I understand, I haven't tried it, but that Facebook does not allow nudity. Don't look on mine for that.
You don't like the word dirty.
That's right. Well, so what are you going to do? I mean, a lot of your appeal is like PTA moms, 30 to 60. What are you going to do about everything from babies' bottoms to X-rated requests?
I'm not going to do anything about it, right? It's like if you sell a camera, you can't handle the content that goes on that camera. Facebook will handle it if it's posted. Our video fizzes are built to go on Twitter. They're built to go on Facebook. They're built to be emailed privately. They're built to be shared by text. You can purchase a DVD. All of that is outside of the control. What? Oh, you can also download it. So we don't control what you do with it afterwards. So the normal mores of your life are going to have to monitor that for you.
I have a quick question for you, Laura, more on the product side. Obviously you have the templates in there for video fizzes right now. Is there any ability to build your own kind of graphics, and talk to us a little bit about your product roadmap and what that looks like?
So I think that's kind of what Lance was asking me a little bit about earlier. There's some things like being able to add your own music, right? That's a little bit of a challenge. All the music that we have, we own the licenses for, but there is a way to do that. There's an app called Flipagram that'll allow you to pull from music that you've already had in your library, and that's one of the things that we're looking at. The animations are really complicated, and in order to customize them, you have to have the XY coordinates, and then we put the name in it. So it's not like it's just typed in a font. They actually animate. But we have had some requests to be able to have open fields, so it could be, happy last day of veterinarian school, and then, fireworks around it. And that's really where we've stopped in our brains right now. In terms of getting that content, we would certainly like to open it up to other artists and have featured companies. I mean, I would love to do something where Hallmark had a category inside or provided animations, because I love the quality of their work. And then you have different people who could provide that sort of content. Our wedding and engagement applications, imagine partnering with the Knot on those and having some co-branded animations. So that's all in the roadmap of things that we'd like to do, if customers take us there.
All right, we got time for probably one more from the crowd. One on the side.
You guys have been so nice to me.
Thank you.
Don't be mean. Everybody's been nice.
No, I'm good. Curious about the music aspect, and you just kind of touched on it. Are you familiar with the sites that have that create brand new,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got
brand new
an
original-
8-year-old who wants to put his music on one. He keeps bringing me the clips. Can I use this one? What about this one for birthday? But yes, we are, and we've looked at some of that, and it would be great to license some of that inside the app if that's what you're asking me.
Well, and even ones that generate a brand new one for each video. People type in a genre. I can't remember the name of the company right now. I saw a video on it in the last 6 months. But
Well, I don't know it either, so if you'll do this at the end, if I give you my card, if it pops back into your head, will you let me know?
Sure, I can find it.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Is
All
that
right.
it? Happy early St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
So now it's time for the big question, Laura, the one you've been waiting for.
Yes.
What can we as a community do to help you?
Okay, so this is interesting because the default answer would be to go like me on social media and to download the app, which would all be great. But here's the thing, getting customer feedback is extraordinarily difficult. And when we first launched, we launched to my group of Facebook friends who literally would call me and text me when they ran into problems. What I'd like is, I would like for you to, I want to go back if I can, to this, which is my contact information. That's me directly. And what I'm begging you to do is, if for some reason you find yourself using it or having an idea, contact me directly. This group is a close group. I cannot get to a vocal other set of customers outside of the people that I talk to very easily. And constructive criticism, ideas, especially if you use it, that's great. We have all sorts of people telling us it's wonderful, and I love that. That gets me up in the morning. But really, if you run into trouble, please tell us. That's what we'd like from you. And the continued support that we've already felt here in the city.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, guys. Thanks so much. And Colby gets to keep his job, just in case you were all wondering.
All right, thank you everybody for coming. Next week we have Q-Box and Lifted Spirits Distillery presenting. Apparently there's a lot of alcohol involved in coming to the Million Cups. So thank you everyone, have a great week. We'll see you next time.